Lindsay, what did you do last week?
I slept.
You slept because the week before that you were falling asleep on the show, apparently.
Yes.
Guess what?
I slept.
It's Taylor Primetime. Because the week before that you were falling asleep on the show, apparently.
Yes.
Oh yeah, take it away, Andy.
What time is it? What time is it? It's prime time. It's prime time. What time is it? What time is it? It's prime time. It's prime time. Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the internet world, welcome to Prime Time. It's what we do on Tuesdays. I missed you guys last week. I'm glad that Lindsay got some sleep. Lindsay, you're looking good.
Thank you.
You're never going to leave it down. This week, we're very honored and very excited to have Mr. Paul Pesco, the invisible guitarist. The invisible guitarist. Invisible guitarist. Welcome, Paul. Lindsay, I already said hello to you. I'll say it again. Hi, Jay. Welcome to Primetime.
Hi, welcome back. Man, it was weird not having a show last week, but I think I slept too, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember what I did, actually. I know I wasn't on the show. We got a lot of emails about, hey, is the show happening?
Right.
What happened to the show? That shows that some people didn't show up to watch it. Anyway, Paul Pesco, welcome to Taylor Primetime.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
The Guitar Nerd Talk Show. Paul, here's how this works. We start the show with a bunch of segments. We talk way too much. Sometimes we talk about guitars. Sometimes we talk about sports. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm wearing a New York Yankees hat for Paul. He is, from upstate New York. He might be even joining us from New York, so it's late his time. We'll make sure this is a swift show.
It's normal for me. I'm a night owl for sure.
You're a night owl. That's because you may have been on a few tours, a few big giant stages, played with a few artists,
couple studios, the wee hours in the morning,
the sessions. I mean, Paul. Okay, Paul is a guitarist, a songwriter, a session musician, multi-instrumentalist, music director, father, husband, great dude, and a Yankees fan.
Yes.
Wow.
See, I'm from Rochester, New York, originally, and up there, any of my friends who are from the city or Long Island, they're all Mets fans. But originally, I mean, the Yankees, that was it. And I love the logo. I love the team. So
he said to me on a phone call that this logo is synonymous with baseball.
That's a fact, I think.
I think it might be.
I think it is.
People recognize that New York logo for sure.
It's true. I've argued this point. When the Yankees are bad, baseball is bad. And so now we have Gabriel over here who's a Cleveland fan and he's mad, right? But I'm a Tigers fan. It's okay. We don't often have the greatest of seasons. Once in a while we win, and once in a while we beat the Yankees and Cleveland. So anyway, let's get on with the show. So as you guys know, we do trivia at the end of the show. Tonight's trivia prize is a nice leather Taylor strap and a Taylor care package. There's one prize. That means one question. We got a good one at the end of the show. I'm pretty excited about it. So we do not, we have some segments, like I said, Paul. Usually we have a segment that's called Hug Your Haters. That is when we get some hate mail or we get some hate comments or something like this. But we've been on this streak where we haven't had much hate.
Wow.
So
That's a good thing. This is let the love flow, right?
Let the love
Let the love flow.
right? That's what Andy,
New segment.
do you have a song for Let the Love Flow?
Everybody needs a hug these days. Maybe now more than ever. And soon we'll be hugging in person, not on Zoom, no virtual platforms. Let the love flow as best as you can. Thanks for watching our show for as long as you can stand. We dig your support more than you know. So come on, let the love flow.
Love it.
Nice.
Love
Let
it.
the love flow. We're changing it from now
Yes.
on. Let the love flow.
Yes.
Thanks, Paul. We're going to borrow that if that's cool.
Yeah.
Feel free. It's
All right. The next segment, we usually have a segment, right, that's called What Are You Listening To? It's pretty simple. We just tell each other what we're listening to. But tonight we have a new segment. We may keep this one going for a while. It's a brand new game. I will tell you the rules to the game after producer Gabriel plays the useless clip and Andy sings a song. Go ahead, Gabe. Oh yeah, the draft.
What is about to happen?
Go ahead, Andy.
Let's play a new game. Don't look back. Play a new game. Play the draft.
That was a good one. Look at that little
It's
jingle.
a little short, but
Yes.
I had about 40 minutes. So
You did have 40 minutes. Okay, here's how this works. All four of us are going to play a game. Our guest goes first. The game works like this. We just had the NFL draft this week. That's what we're going to do. Each of us are a record label, right? Follow me. Each of us are a record label. You have to pick one band at a time. We're going to go around 5 times, okay? We're picking 5 bands, artists, musicians, dead or alive, to start your record label with. You got me? Not? No. So next week, we're going to draft a band. So we're going to draft the musicians in the band. This week, we are a record label. None of us have practice here. This is spontaneous. We're going to pick the band, artist, musician, whatever, for our record label. You guys ready? The winner gets a virtual high five. All right? That's how it goes. Super easy. All right. It's totally easy. I got this. Maybe I don't. Paul, who is the first band that you would like to draft?
Well, it'd probably be a rock band, but because I want to try to bring rock back. Right? In the present world, like rock is kind of taking a back seat in a way, and I think so. Let's say AC/DC.
Ooh, AC/DC. All right, good.
love those.
Lindsay.
No, go to Andy first. I'm thinking.
Oh, now you're stuck. It's not your top 5. It's your 5 right now. Who are you starting to label with? You got to go, Lindsay.
Okay. Dang it, Jay. Little preparation.
Nope.
A band. It can't be like an artist or an artist.
Artist, musician, whatever. Solo
Okay.
guitarist. I don't care. Whoever you want to
Okay.
start your label with.
All right. I'm probably gonna go with, geez, my knees. I think Little Richard. He was a pioneer of rock, and it turned into soul. So I think without him, we don't have rock or soul. So
Right. You wouldn't have had Jimi Hendrix. You wouldn't have had Prince.
no,
You wouldn't have had, you know.
I mean, we wouldn't have had Elvis.
We wouldn't have had Elvis.
No.
Right.
So yeah,
Dang.
Little Richard.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right, Andy.
I'm going to draft Crowded House. I think that there's decades worth of great songs that Neil Finn's still going to write.
Oh,
Good choice.
I cannot believe I'm so lucky that this one is still available. And it's not who you think I'm going to say. It's actually The Police. I am going to
Wow.
draft The Police.
That's a good one.
All right, Paul, next.
Wow.
Okay. Well, see, I'm happen to go with music that I love. You know, I a lot of record labels are, you know, they're marketing driven, and I think that it dominates the scene right now. So much so that they go with what, you know, this is the hot thing. We got to go with that. And I really want to approach. I would approach my label from that of a curator. I want to bring culture and music and what I think is important to the world. And so I would look at something like Return to Forever, Chick Corea.
Oh, Chick Corea. Oh, yes, Lindsay.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh,
Love.
fire. Key word.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Lund. Who's the next in your draft?
I'm going to draft Peter Gabriel just because I want to take him to the record signing party and hang out with him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one.
And for the music too. But
I love it.
That's great. That's great. All right. Man, there's two that I got top of my list, but right now I'm gonna go with Radiohead. Radiohead.
Do we get to trade like after the draft?
Maybe that'll be down the road. We'll trade.
Okay.
All right, Paul. Who's your next draft?
Okay, it'd have to be one of my favorite bands of all time, Steely Dan.
Oh,
That's a good one.
great. Yeah. All right.
That's a good one.
Who you drafting next?
James Brown. He pioneered two genres,
Okay.
soul and funk. I mean, come on,
That is,
James Brown.
James Brown.
I like her label.
Andy Lund.
Real Records.
God, I gotta need to get a guitar player, I think, for my roster.
Yeah.
I might go with Rolf Towner,
Wow.
the esoteric side of the label.
Amazing player.
That is great. All right. I need a little bit of flow. So I'm going to go with, Yep, I'm going to do it. Most Def. I got Most Def.
Most Def.
You
Wow.
can't. You can't.
No, he's amazing.
Most Def. That's it. Okay. Who you got, Paul? We got two more.
Busta Rhymes. He's just got speed. He's got creativity. I love what he does. You know, the way he the arrangements, the rhythmical arrangements of lyrics that he does. There's nobody like him.
Yeah.
That's great.
So this is number 4. I'm gonna go Michael Jackson.
Oh, right.
We have to. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you just okay. So your label will be successful, right? Okay, Andy, who's your next
I'm gonna go with Ronnie James Dio.
Oh, Ronnie James Dio.
I'm gonna sew that one up right away.
That is fantastic.
That is.
Man. Ronnie James Dio. You all think I'm gonna no. This is we got who am I drafting? My wife's yelling in the background, by the way. She's like, you need this artist, you need this. Yeah. I don't know about this one real quick, but I'm gonna go with it's such a hard game, right?
It's unfair.
It's totally unfair. I ruined it for us. And everybody's in there just throwing names out. And Bjork.
Okay.
Yep. Got it. Paul, your last and final draftee.
Wow. Okay, this is important. See,
The names in
there's so many. I mean, there's
the names in the
funny.
people.
I'm like a jazz, hard rock label, you know. But
Yeah.
I'd have to say it's between two different groups, actually. It would either be Alice in Chains, which I also absolutely love, or Screaming Headless Torsos.
You have to pick. You got one left.
Oh, okay, I know. Screaming Headless Torsos.
Mm.
There you go.
Is it?
Yeah, this is not fair because, I mean, yeah, I saw some. Gabriel put Prince. I mean, of course, I want to pick Prince. He's literally my favorite guitarist and player. But I feel like I have that genre. I picked the funk guy, right? I'm trying to diversify my label so we can get into all markets. So I'm either on hip hop or jazz now, and I think I'm gonna go hip hop because it's more. It's just it's commercialized way more than jazz, more profitable. So,
Oh yeah.
so I think we're gonna go with who am I gonna sign? I think hip hop wise, we're gonna have to go De La Soul. I'm
Wow.
signing them all. I'm signing them all.
Yes. Yes. De La Soul. What a good draft. That's such a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Andy, look at Andy. Andy's got his like stats out. Andy's got his almanac out.
Look at my scorecard down here. Well, so I'm thinking I'm going to make a trio record with Ronnie James and Ralph Towner.
Mm-hmm.
So I either need Dave Holland, Pino Palladino, Christian McBride.
Wow.
I think I'm going to go with Pino.
Definitely Pino.
Yeah, there you go. That record's going to sell at least in the tens for sure. 10 or 12 records.
For sure.
But I'm going to love it.
Man, why did I pick this?
That was incredible.
Do we
And
have a budget?
incredibly hard. Oh my gosh.
Ronnie James
Ronnie
trio.
James Trio. I like it.
Okay. I gotta go. Everyone wants me to pick metal right now. But I'm gonna go with we need music, Andy, right? Don't we? Something? I mean,
It's okay. Yeah. Just let me know. Next time, just let me know, and I'll be happy to find some music
I
for you.
did let you know like 40 minutes ago that we had a new segment.
I wasn't counting on these 3 and 4 seconds of silence, so I didn't know about them.
Yeah, it's so awkward. Okay. I'm gonna do it just because I can. Oh, BB King. Go with him.
BB King.
Absolutely.
The guy can't play a wrong note.
No.
I mean, think about how BB King played the guitar. It's just unbelievable.
He doesn't play chords either. That's the cool
No.
thing about him.
I completely missed the blues. I know.
All
That's
right.
a great card.
How was that segment? We should get that. Hey, all right,
That's
everybody
fun.
in the feed, should we do that segment again? That was awesome.
We're gonna get some hate on that one. I
I'm
think.
sweating.
We got so many people over here who are like, the Beatles. The Beatles. I was like, yeah, but someone will draft the Beatles. Oh, man. All right. Every week we're getting some votes in. I got Matt over here telling me, dude, it would be awesome to have a board displayed with everybody's picks and everyone vote on it. Yes. All right. We're going to bring this one in from now on. Every single week, every Tuesday that we have a show, we are going to do the draft.
All
Oh
right.
my gosh.
Oh, that was painful, wasn't it? It was like stressful.
I felt like I was betraying artists that I love and bands that I love. I felt icky. I don't like this segment.
No, I like my stomach right now. I have so much anxiety. I know, because there's like so many bands. Anyway, that was awesome. Thanks for playing my reindeer games with me.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the Guitar Nerd Talk Show. That was awesome. Thanks for playing. That was great. So Paul,
Yes.
this is how this goes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Paul Pesco to the show. Paul has played with a few people. He's been in a few recording sessions. We'll get into that in a little bit here. But right now, this part of the show, Paul, I ask a question. I ask the same question to every single guest who comes on the show. And that question is, Paul Pesco, what in the heck do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah. What do you do? What is your job? What is your career? How does everything work for you? It looks like you're in a studio right now.
Well, right. I am in a studio. I play this thing, which to me has become a bit of a passport. You know, it's really gained me entry around the world. It allows me to speak a language that everyone can understand, whether you speak English or not. You know, and that's the beauty of music. But you know what? It's funny. What I really do is I live in the moment. People ask me like, where do you live? You know, and I just say my standard answer is in the moment. It's that's what we have is right now. You know, we can't change the past. We don't really know what we hope for the future, but we have right now. So make now the best now that you can. And I love making music. And to me also, what I've been thinking about it because we talked yesterday, and I'm one of those guys that kind of that lives in. I'm comfortable in the unfamiliar. If that makes any sense. That's why I think I make a good session musician. I walk into a studio and I might not. It can be intimidating, you know. You're hearing a piece of music that you've never heard before. A lot of times people like to play things they know. You know, I know this, and I know how this goes because I practiced it and I know this. But for session musicians, a lot of times it's about being in the moment, being able to react or come up with something or options, you know, presenting options to the artist or listening to the producer or a singer or the artist, the songwriter, saying, well, it needs something. I have an idea here. It goes like this. I'm not sure how it, you know, to round it out. Or think of like the Beatles. You're talking about the Beatles before. That line that George plays, don't into the song, and I Love Her. You know, that little setup. I'm pretty sure that George came up with that on the spot in the studio, and it became like this thing that just opened up the song. And I've been lucky enough to be able to do that and get, you know, have the opportunity to be in a situation where I do that and come up with things, you know, that like Madonna.
How many hours do you think in your lifetime you've played guitar?
At least 10,000. No, yeah. Many. My mom and dad their bedroom was underneath mine. We lived in this Cape Cod house on Long Island, and as a teenager, I had my when I got my first Les Paul, I was just like, oh, I was obsessed. I never let it down. I'd be practicing it in bed as I slept, and my wife, my wife, my mom would wake up my dad. Peter, wake up! My mom's Korean, my father's Italian. She'd go, Paul, play guitar all night long. Tell him go to sleep. He's got school tomorrow. So, I can't even count the hours that I've played, but
you're a guitarist.
Yeah, definitely.
And
obsessed.
You're known as the invisible guitarist. Explain why.
Oh, okay. A friend of mine said to me, Jeff Allegue, a good buddy of mine, great guitar player, by the way. He and Paul O'Neill were good friends, and we're buddies. Paul O'Neill is the guy who created Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and we've known each other. We knew each other for years. He passed away about 2 years ago now, and Jeff and I got together here at the studio to play a song that Paul loved, as in tribute to Paul O'Neill. And Jeff, in just kind of talking, he goes, Paul, I've been following your career for the last 30 years, and I've seen everything you do. I mean, you play with Joan Baez, Madonna, Hall & Oates. You're, like Guitaro. You play with Dave Weckl. There's no style that defines you. I'm always kind of fighting to hear you. And so you're like the invisible guitarist. And I was like, interesting. He goes, and then he prefaced, he said after, he goes, I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean that in the most complimentary way. And I took it as a compliment, and then as we were talking about it, and I thought about it a little bit, my analogy to what I do is it's like a chef, and I'm there to help make the sauce or make this musical dish for people to consume. And I look at my contribution as like the salt or the garlic, that you might add to it, and the spice. And you know that if something tastes salty, you probably put a little bit too much salt in, And so I like to approach my musical contribution in the studio that way. And so in a way, I blend. I like to blend with the situation, find that thing that really kind of drives the song, pushes the song along, or complements the melody, complements the song. Find that simple part and find the simplest way to play it. I'm quoting Tim Pierce right now. I've been watching him. He's another great guitarist who I really appreciate. And I love the way he explained what he does, and I totally relate to that. Oftentimes, people, a lot of artists who sell a brand, who are the leaders, and they're doing their thing. They want to blow. They want to rip. They want to do like the rip and solo and shred, which is cool. And I love to play like that as well. But oftentimes, like what's required when I go into the studio is not that. It's to play something simple. Find the simple thing that drives the song or complements the song.
And simplicity is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard.
Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Find that simple thing, the one note. Find that, and it requires one to think more like an arranger, or than a guitarist. It does. The fact that I'm playing a guitar becomes it's not as important. It's the note. It's what are we? What are you adding? A friend of mine, Ira Siegel, who's another great guitarist, a friend of mine who's a great session player in New York, compared guitar playing what we do. It's like we're playing tuned congas. It's like a conga drum, or like a drum that's notes. And so even like a simple like E minor chord like that. Or you were talking about James Brown before, and there's that old joke like, what do they say? What do they say you when you go to the audition for James Brown's band? They say, well, can you play E9? Sure. Can you play it all night?
Mhm.
But there's a truth to that, and there's something that's way cool, and like finding that wah-wah part for the song Shaft, or Papa Was a Rolling Stone. There's like these the way that wah-wah rhythm just drives the song, or any of the James Brown songs. Like you hear that just like simple parts that they'll all lock together like in a puzzle, or like a gearworks, like if you look at a watch or a clock, it's they all work together, and it's that's when the magic happens, I believe.
Mm.
Yeah, you should. Someone said, show us the James Brown E9.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I got a few questions. What is a song that you wish you had written?
Ooh. Asia.
Ooh.
I think it's beautiful. Or well, actually, God, there's so many. Bluesette by Toots Thielmans.
Yeah.
So many good songs. All right.
It's a beautiful song.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All right. What's the best live show you've ever seen?
Wow. Man, that's a tough one. I'd have to say The Ring by Richard Wagner.
Wow.
In Bayreuth. See, my father's an opera singer, and so he would sing in Germany. We lived in Germany for 5 years, and every summer, when we were here in the States, every summer we'd go to like Tanglewood or Chautauqua, which are the big summer festivals. But in Germany, we would go to Bayreuth. My father was in the Festspiele, they call it, Festspiele, and he was in the chorus. And I actually got to be a Nibelungen, which is this mythical character. They were these little. They'd hire boys, and there would be a group of boys, and they'd be carrying the Rheingold. It's based on fables, but the music that Richard Wagner wrote was very dramatic, and really is the precursor to modern film score music. A lot, just so the productions, the way they produced it, it was actually scary. Some of the sounds, the way they used the effects, and the music. There's an opera called Parsifal. And the beginning of it is just 4 notes. It's like the greatest heavy metal song you ever heard. It's like it's huge. I also borrow from a composer named Giacomo Puccini all the time.
Yeah,
and it's funny that people don't realize. People have a background. They don't realize that my background is actually in opera. Well, as a child, I was listening to all this music, not even realizing I was going to play guitar later in life. But all that music kind of went into my head, or got programmed, and I kind of draw from it a little bit. I've actually used there's a aria in the opera La Boheme. I've actually played that melody on a song, but then we reversed it. You know, did that whole Jimi Hendrix thing, or you know, what Jimmy Page used to do, take the tape and turn it backwards. But I've actually played that melody, but backwards. It became something altogether different, and it was amazing. So
that's incredible. Okay, got a few more questions. What is the craziest live show you've ever played?
I'd have to say Terramasahino in Shibuya. In Japan. We actually it was a great band, and he's considered the Miles Davis of Japan, and I got to play in his band, the Detour Band, and we did something where we were playing. It was actually, I didn't tell anybody, but it was my birthday, and he counted off the song. He goes 1, 2, 3, and I go right into the first chord, and nobody else was playing. Nobody else played, and they're like, "Oh my god!" I said, "Paul, what are you doing?" Oh man! So I'm like so embarrassed. I'm like, "What's going on here?" And they go, "Okay, let's start it again. 1, 2, happy birthday." And they went right into happy birthday. So I have to say that was crazy, because I was like, took me totally by surprise. I was like, oh my god, what did I just do? You know.
That's great. I think before we get into a guitar discussion with you, we need to play another game.
Okay, let's play.
We're gonna play another game. It's gonna be called True or False with Paul Pesco. It's pretty simple. The rules are easy. I mean, it's very easy, right? We're gonna name an artist, and we're gonna see if you've played with them. All right. I'll take the first one. Alicia Keys.
True.
Okay. Lindsay.
Shaka Khan.
True.
Andy.
Daryl Hall.
True.
Cyndi Lauper.
True that.
Cher.
True.
Oh, Andy.
You believe.
The Miles Davis of Japan.
Terramasahino. Yes. True.
Donna Summer.
True.
Madonna.
I've heard of her. True.
Andy.
I'm gonna skip this one, Jay. You go.
Okay. Mary J. Blige.
True. I'm going down.
That's a good song. Mariah Carey.
True.
Jeff Lorber.
True.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yes.
Whoa.
True.
Nice. Earl Clue.
True.
Andy.
I love Earl Clue.
2 more each. We're gonna go 2 more each.
Dig deep.
Dig deep, dude. You want me to go?
Yeah.
Al Green.
True. I love Andy's expression.
Yes. Grandmaster Flash.
Grandmaster Flash.
That is insane.
I actually programmed drums on a couple of records. DMX.
Oh. Come on, Andy.
All right. How about Will Lee? Will Lee, the bass player. Will Lee.
Yes, many times, many different gigs. We played together in the Buddy Rich big band.
Okay. Come on, we got to get. He's got to have one. Oh, I got it. There's no way you played with Eddie Murphy.
True.
You played with him?
I played on his second album.
Wait, what?
And you know, it's funny. I got to his house, and I've been working with David Jones, his producer, and when we got into the studio, he had a beautiful studio in his house in New Jersey, and he goes, "Yo, my brother said you look like Menudo." It was a number of years ago. I was a lot younger, but well, I guess that's a compliment because usually the guys in that band are pretty, they got to be good looking, they got to be talented. So I guess I take that as a compliment. Thank you, sir.
That's so good. Herb Albert.
True.
Wow.
Faith Evans.
Yes. True.
What? Amazing. What song?
I love her. I
Yeah.
gotta look it up.
Steve Winwood.
True. Finer Things.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
New Kids on the Block.
I ain't playing no games.
Okay. One more. There's got to be one more. Who else? Oh my goodness.
O-Town.
O-Town.
True.
I was hooked to making the band. Oh my gosh.
Oh, all right. Hunter said Motorhead.
Okay, false. There's one, Paul.
There's one.
Not yet.
Well, the thing is, see, they're a band.
Yeah.
They don't really hire session guys that often. Sometimes after the session, the producer might bring somebody like me in to help clean something up, or Hunter won.
That was awesome. That was so good.
Wow.
That's so good. So, Paul, I'm going to ask you a couple of this is a guitar nerd talk show, so we're going to ask a couple of questions, but obviously that's what we're doing. We're asking questions, but we're going to ask some guitar questions. But you were on Daryl Hall's show live at Daryl's house. I think you did some
live from Daryl's house. Yes, LFDA.
Live from Daryl's house. You worked with Hall & Oates quite a bit. When did you start working with Hall & Oates? How did that all work? And yeah,
well, I actually got Daryl had become aware of me as in the 80s, sort of like in mid 80s, after I had played with Madonna, and with her success came my success. People were like, "Oh man, we need the guy that played on Lucky Star," or I'm burning up. As she became more successful, I played with Steve Winwood. I played on Finer Things, and then I did a lot of commercials in New York. And so my name, got, people were finding out that this is a new kid around town. Let's get him. He's funky. He's got he's got cool energy. And Daryl's always got his ear to the pulse of what's happening or what's new. And he had heard about me, and he said, let's get that kid Pesco in here. Actually, I had played on a demo. He had written a song with Mike Murphy, who is the singer from The System, the band that I was in. We did a song, "You Are in My System," "Don't Disturb This Groove," "Pleasure Seekers." But Mike had written a song with Daryl, and so they had me come and play guitar on it. And Daryl was like, "Man, this kid's funky, man. We gotta get him." So Tommy Mottola called me and said, "Well, we're gonna need you in the studio." And so I played on a song called "Real Love" for the album "Ooh Yeah" in 1988, and that was the most successful single off that album was a song called "Everything Your Heart Desires."
Real Love. Huh.
But there's a little side note to the story. I met them years before. See, I was as a when I first started in New York, when I first started going into New York and playing on sessions and working on stuff, I was with this band, and we had done a showcase at SIR, which is a great rehearsal studio. There's the SIR in LA. They're all over the country. There's one in Nashville, Studio Instrument Rentals. So we did a big showcase there, and the Joe Smith, who is the president of Elektra Records, was interested in us, but he said, I need to send you in the studio with a producer drummer that works with us. And that was Jerry Marotta, who's played with Peter Gabriel. And so Jerry was a good friend. One day I'm on 48th Street, and I had just bought a gig bag, and I had my Les Paul and a gig bag. I was walking around feeling like a session guy, and I ran into Jerry, and I said, "Hey, Jerry, what are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm playing with Hall & Oates now. We're working on their new album, and I'm going on my way to the Hit Factory." He said, "Wow, can I hang out?" I said, "Sure, come along." So I went to the Hit Factory with him to the studio, and standing against the wall, had my gig bag there, and Jerry went over to his drums and was just adjusting things, and there was Daryl and John. They're leaning over a Fender Rhodes, kind of going over chords that they're gonna, for this next song. Yeah, I think it goes like this. And what do you think? They were obviously working on something or working out some changes. And then all of a sudden, together, they look up. They noticed me. They say, "Well, who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm Paul. I'm Jerry's friend. He said it was okay that I could hang out." And they said, "No, this is a closed session. You're gonna have to leave." Boom. They kicked me out. And that was the first time I met them. And then fast forward several years, 5 or 6 years, and I was getting called by them to come into the studio because of my reputation or what I had then accomplished as a player. And I got invited into the studio, played on that record. Not until 1995 when T-Bone went back to playing bass, because he had been playing guitar and they had hired a bass player. T-Bone went back to bass, and they said, "Well, we need a guitarist." And Daryl said, "Well, why don't we get that kid Pesco?" And so in 1995, I was invited to come play with Hall & Oates, and I ended up playing on Marigold Sky, the album that came out in '96. And from that point on, I was touring with them and was in the band. Off and on. I mean, I left in '99 to because I got offered to be the musical director for J-Lo, and she did her first album, and the money was really good, and I was really they made me an offer that I couldn't refuse.
That's fair. That's fair. You have to make money as a musician.
Yes,
but I think it's a good time right now. Do a little Q&A, but you've been playing Taylor for a long time. It's a Taylor talk show. Do you remember getting your first Taylor? What it was? How you got into
Yes, I do. I was on tour with I was working with Joan Baez. I'd been touring with her I toured with Joan for about 9 years, and I absolutely love her. And I learned so much. I actually learned how to play "Don't Think Twice" the way she plays it, the way she learned it from Bob. So on tour with her, I forget what town we were in. I think we were rehearsing. We were probably in the Bay Area, and I went into probably Bananas at Large or.
What a good store!
Yes, and I found a cedar top Taylor, and I just fell in love with it. And Joan said, "Well, if you really like that guitar, then you should you should own that, and let's get it, and I'll take it out of your pay." So she purchased the guitar for me, and then I paid it off as the tour went on, and that was my first Taylor.
That's great. What makes
my second Taylor, and I absolutely love this guitar. It's a 914 CE.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's a wonderful, wonderful Sitka spruce and Indian rosewood side and back. It's beautiful.
Does that one leave the house? Does it go on tour with you?
It does. I have a really great. I have some good cases. I have a Mark Leaf case for this, and I actually have to get the case fixed. But it's been around. This guitar has been around the world with me.
Yeah, your baby that you travel with. What makes a good guitar for you? I mean, you're an electric player. You're an acoustic player, but what makes a good guitar for you?
Tone and play the action. It's funny. It's low, but not too low. And just I like to play heavier strings. This has 12s on it, which I guess you'd consider a medium to light acoustic, but I 12s or 13s. I actually put 13s on my flat wounds on my jazz boxes, but I'd say it's tone and playability, and it's not necessarily low action.
Almost low action.
I like low, but not too low. In that it's you don't want it to buzz, but you want to get good tone because having a great technician or a good luthier that you can work with and go to, and learning about how to care for these instruments is so important, especially here on the East Coast where the seasons just like wreak havoc on acoustic guitars.
What? Andy, Lindsay.
Paul. We didn't pay him to say this.
What is he talking about? What care for your guitar? So you're talking about like humidity?
Humidity. Yes, I actually have a monitor, and I have these great humidifiers that I really try to maintain a good humidity level of about 35%. 35 to 40%. We're at 40% in this room right now.
Wow, 40%. That's your
winter in New York is just really horrible for acoustic instruments, and it's something that a lot of people learn the hard way, And when they, what happened to my guitar? The top is split or the action has changed, But you have all these different types of wood. They're all working and expanding and contracting at different rates. And then when the weather gets when we get freezing weather and that just draws all the humidity out of the air, it really does wreak havoc on guitars.
Mm-hmm. Wow. We talk about humidity a lot, and people want us to shut up, but we're not going to shut up.
I call it the humidity.
The humidity.
There you go. Humidity. All right. What does your practice regimen look like?
Wow. Well, I like to practice things that I'm having problems with. You know what I mean? Really go for the things that are not easy. But warm up. I have a warm up routine that started off really from the beginning, and it's like there's the spider walk. Here I'll show you. There's like just move one finger at a time, and it can be one of the most difficult things to do. I like to practice. I'll listen to saxophone players and try to kind of glean what they're doing. Like the way they'll play an arpeggio, playing in thirds. Practicing their scales, but then playing in thirds, playing in fourths, playing in fifths. Also, try. This is a great exercise. This is something I learned from Quincy Jones. And I love how he explained it, because any hit song you can play with two fingers. And well, he was explaining it on a piano, right? Meaning, what are the two most important features of a good melody or a good song? And it's the bass note and the melody. So I took that to heart, and I started to kind of look at things and analyze. It's a great way to learn or take a song and work out your own arrangement. Like something like that, or a Stevie Wonder song. I'm just playing the top note and the bass note. So, and all that other stuff in the middle is filler or color. So, I think everybody out there, just try that. Try that as an exercise. Find a song that you love or that you like or that's familiar to you. Find the bass note and just play the bass note and the melody. You don't have to play all the strings of the guitar all the time. That's another thing. Just find that. So, I think that's a great exercise, and it helps.
What a cool exercise. My
Really
God.
cool.
Like, what a profound thing, like the bass note and the melody.
Yeah, bass note and the melody, and then find all the middle stuff, all that filler and the color, and really it starts to it's the beginning of finding your own voice, I think, and creating your own arrangements of something, rather than playing, which is fun too. When people think of playing guitar, they generally go to those standard voicings. There's so much to be learned. Check out all the great players from church. Isaiah Sharkey.
Right.
People like John Scofield. What really kind of blew my mind was when I first heard Alan Holdsworth. That I'd have to say, you were asking me what was the most amazing band I ever heard. I'd have to say, I mean, there's so many. Like lately, it's like the Ron Carter. If you listen to Ron Carter and the WDR big band, there's a song called 8 is unbelievable. People know Ron Carter as being this great bass player, but he's a great arranger. I love his compositions. And this band, the WDR big band, is just sick. They're so good.
It's this.
It's the Westdeutsche Rundfunk big band.
I think Paul just mentioned like trying to emulate the way a saxophone plays. A saxophone is blown. The attack is completely different, right?
Yes.
The thing that I had that same experience with Metal Fatigue was the Holdsworth record that I heard.
Yes.
With Chad Wackerman, I think, played drums on that. And like his guitar playing sounded like it was blown.
There's an interview where he talks about it because that's all he ever wanted to do was play saxophone. But his father said, we can't afford a sax. So I'm getting you a guitar and, work it out. So he says, I guess I'm not going to get a sax. And so he was figuring out how to sound like a saxophone on a guitar. And so that's that real legato style. And just like, he was listening to Coltrane and Charlie Parker and, Dolphy and all the great players, Paul Desmond. And I mean, there's so many, Joe Henderson. Oh my God, There's so many great musicians.
So many. I think I remember. I want to say it was Joe Pass's quote because Wesley and Marianne have a lot of. They both kind of. I remember. I remember a lot of their quotes, but I think it's Joe Pass. He says something like he's never learned anything from, or he never tried to mimic a guitar player. He always mimicked like Charlie Parker. or a horn player because of the way like the arpeggios, the way they play is just different. So
Yeah, I'm the same way. I really don't. I appreciate really great guitar players. I love like people like Schofield for sure. But really, it's the guys that try to sound like saxophone players. And that's what I love. I'm intrigued. I listen to sax, and I'm trying to sound like that. Really, that's what my goal is.
See, mom, this is me showing you appreciation for making me play saxophone.
You play, I like that,
mom. All you, mom. Thank you very much. My mom.
Are you a tenor player?
Yes, and my mom plays. Well, I was. I think I retired from saxophone when I found a guitar. But
who's your favorite saxophone player? Saxophonist. See, now I'm the interviewer.
Favorite sax player. There's too many. I don't know. We should do just a sax player draft. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yes. Good.
That would be so hard, but we could do it. Anyway, it's so good. Paul, this has been incredible. It's been fun just to sit and listen and hear your stories and hear about your experience. I think it's time, Gabe, we need to throw some questions at Paul from the feed. If you'd like to help with that, that would be fantastic. Michael says, who was/is the most inspiring artist you've ever worked with? Great question.
Stevie Wonder.
Great profile picture.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder.
Still to this day, I just listen to his music and I love it. I love everything he's done. I happen to be born on the same day, May 13th. It's coming up.
Hey, happy birthday!
Your early birthday.
Yes.
Gabe, do we have any more questions? What led you go down your career path and not joining a band?
I would. That's a good question. Well, the opportunity, I guess, this opportunity was always knocking, and my phone always rings. Has always rung, and it continues to ring, and people want me to contribute to their music. I would love to be in a band. It's funny. I was telling Jay just yesterday that I had auditioned when the Chili Peppers were looking for a guitar player. I went in,
such a great
audition, and Anthony. I remember Anthony Kiedis saying to me, he goes, "Well, I sent him my resume or the credit list and all these artists that I'd worked with, and I don't know. I think he was kind of put off or something. He's like, well, why do you want to play with us? You play with Michael Bolton." And it's like, yeah, because I guess it wasn't cool or something. But I was like, man, well, that was a job. And I love Michael. Michael's my friend. But I would, I really relate to your music, and I would love to be in your band. And but they, so it didn't. That opportunity never presented itself to me, and I guess I'm gonna have to form my own band.
Got another, Gabe? Who have you not played with?
Wow,
that you'd like to? Great question.
Steely Dan, for sure.
Steely Dan. Cue up. He's finding them. There's so many good questions in the feed.
I have a question.
You got one?
So watching the clip that we saw, the short clip, and listening to your stories, it's obvious that you have a lot of talent to play different genres. But how do most people can't say that they've played with
genre
Michael Bolton and Madonna and Joan Baez? So what else? Your phone's ringing, right? But what else?
I never say no.
Your guitar playing, besides your guitar playing, that keeps your phone ringing. What advice can you give people?
Okay, that is a good question. And the thing is to bring a positive attitude to the studio whenever, or to me, I'm always so just jazzed about being there, being a part of it. I'm just so happy to be there that I can't help but exude that enthusiasm, and I think that people recognize that, and that's been I'm just a real positive person. I really kind of focus on the positive aspect of things, and even when I get really nervous, when I have to say there was a time I actually was playing in Roberta Flack's a rehearsal band at SIR, and my reading was definitely not up to par. I was like, and the thing is, I could fake it really well. And I was reading the chart. There was some melodic parts that I did not hit, but I was, and then she kind of pulled me over and she goes, okay, wait a minute, play that. And I was like, I locked up. And she goes, oh, you're going to have to work on this. And so I actually lost that gig because my reading wasn't up to par. And so that was one time where I really felt very nervous, or that that thing you go, oh my God. So but interestingly enough, several years later, I was getting called to play on her records. So yeah, I made amends. But I think really try to learn as much as you can. I hear people talk about it. Like if the Beatles didn't read, you don't have to know how to read music to play music, and that's quite true. That's a true statement. But you don't have to be able to read English in order to drive a car. But man, if you can't read the street signs, you're gonna get lost.
That's just piggybacking. How important it was and is sight reading in your sessions now and then?
Well, it's definitely something that you need to. It's a tool in your toolbox for sure. And I'm always amazed by people who are great sight readers. I could always be better. I love working with Arif Mardin, who passed away, who's great. His son Joe is a great producer as well, and really good friends of mine. But Arif was one of those guys. He would hear a part, he'd just write it out in pencil. So okay, here, this is the part. Play that, and I'll be looking at it and just like count, just get that rhythm and get that. It's important. It's so important to have that as a session musician, but also to have. What's really served me well is my imagination and my ability to come up with parts with my own ideas, and it's really kind of exercising your composer and arranger skills as well.
Nice.
So it's good to be well rounded.
True.
Kevin, take one guitar with you to a session. What would it be and why? Well, it would probably be my Strat. I have a great Sir Strat here that I love, and I have it. My wiring scheme is slightly different from most, because I actually have the 5-position switch. I'm able to get a tele sound, which is really the one of the most useful tones. I really kind of try to sound like get that Memphis-y guitar sound, that Steve Cropper thing. But it would be a Strat. I have not. I would love to go there. I have many friends who work there all the time, and I want to go to Muscle Shoals for sure. Actually, I play. There's a new movie that will be out in August called Respect, and I played the guitar for all the studio scenes and some of the live scenes in it. It's the story of Aretha Franklin. This movie Respect. It's going to be a smash. Really. Jennifer Hudson plays Aretha. You don't see me in the movie. But you hear my guitar. I played. The actors are there. They're actually pretty decent guitar players, but they wanted me to flesh it out, and so I ended up. What you hear is my guitar, and I'm really excited for this movie to come out. Respect. It'll be out in August.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Gabe, 2 more questions, and then we're gonna move on to keep this show running. There's too many good questions.
Okay. Let's see. Like a jazzy, like a swing style. would be still be like a blues. Let me see. With, let's say Billy's Bounce. So so that would be swing. Let's see, kind of flat picking. My B string's a little flat. Not half as bad as when I broke my G string. Okay, so kind of a funky thing, or I guess let me see. This is one of my licks. So, and then so a lot of times it's funny, like I'll add like on a song, I'll really kind of try to do that. You hear it on the Isley Brothers songs a lot. It's something where like the acoustic, there's an acoustic guitar in there. If you listen closely, it's funny because Ernie Isley, there was the guitar player with the Isley Brothers. He would also play drums. So he was the drummer. He'd like lay down the drum track first, right? Then he'd do an acoustic guitar that would meld with the ride cymbal. And it's funny though. I'd listen to it. I'm like, man, that's an acoustic guitar. But I learned something by listening to that, and I really try to do that. I'll either play off the hi-hat or the ride cymbal, and like just really kind of focus on that rhythm. And so I'm just playing 2 chords there, but
Yep.
think of the drum, you know, and it's really that's why I think I get along with drummers so well. Yeah, I'm really, because I literally listen, I focus in, I hone in on those things, and it's something that I kind of get off on. It excites me, but then I'll fit in with there, and then I'll usually double the guitars, so it's left and right. You kind of pull it back into the mix so that it's not something that's so prominent, but it helps push the groove along. And it's one of those things like the salt we were saying before. It's something interesting. And I think anybody out there, you really need to try something like that. And, you know, it's definitely a way to add that spice.
That's great. Man, Paul, this one's been a good one. This one's been one for the history books. Episode
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be a part and have played the games and to get to show some of those videos from my history, and I'm honored and so happy to be here. So thank you.
Well, good news for you. We got a couple of segments left.
Mm-hmm.
This segment, this next segment that we have is so great. This is Lindsay's favorite part because she asked the question. It's called Lindsay's Question, and she may or may not stump you. But before we get started, I think Andy has a song.
Maybe you'll know, maybe you won't. You might need to think, maybe you won't. Your heart may race, its hearts too. She's just trying to get to know you.
Amazing. Let's see the question. First off, yes, echoing Jay, mini nuggets were dropped tonight. Very cool. Let's see. All right. If you could create a fortune cookie, to give yourself when you were 16, what would it have said?
Wow, that's
very specific.
That's so good.
Do your homework.
Do your homework.
Do your homework.
Do your homework.
That's
Do
good.
your homework.
My parents said to me every day, and it's funny. I find myself saying that to my kids. You know, to my son Sal, do your homework. Finish your homework.
Do your homework.
You know, but really though, it's the stuff that we don't. It's funny. We do homework, and the perception of homework is this. Oh, God, it's something that we have to do, and it's just the teacher. Oh, do we have to know this? But really, homework is something you should learn to love, and it's like there's not enough hours in the day for the homework that I really want, that I need to do. That I love. You know, I've come to a place where I still have all my books, all my music books, but first ones that I started off with, I have to show you because it's kind of funny. They're from Germany. Wir lernen Gitarre spielen. 1 und 2. I have both. I still have them. And but you know, that's what my fortune cookie would have said.
Do your homework.
That's a great lesson to carry in life. Do your homework. Do your research.
That's
study the past.
Words echo in my brain. My mom does it. Just do your homework. And I love my homework now. You know, my homework is working on music.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Choose a job you love. You have to work. You'll never have to work a day in your life.
Another fortune.
We're getting a lot
That's
of
another fortune. Yeah. Choose a job you love. That would be my second fortune.
We're getting a lot of feedback in the feed over here. People want Paul back, so I think we're gonna have to have Paul back on the regular.
I'll come back for sure.
This is great. We've had a few guests who have showed up a couple of times, mainly Bob and Andy Powers, but this is great. We're gonna have to have you back. All right, we have 2 more things we have to do, Paul.
Okay.
The next segment is my favorite segment of the show. Gabe, you want to roll the useless clip? Minutes of sports.
Two minutes of sports, a diversion of sorts. No talk about wood or low, easy action. No bracing chat, only fan reaction. No Karen feeding, no torrefaction. Heartbreak, maybe satisfaction. During 2 minutes of sports.
2 2 minutes of sports, the Yankees baseball. Here we go. They were terrible for a minute this year, but my question is, Paul, your resume is deep. You've played with so many artists, like it seems like every artist under the sun. You played with my former, this is a true story, my former neighbor, Debbie Gibson, or Deborah Gibson.
Deborah.
Played with Debbie Gibson at the time. Have you ever wailed on the national anthem for a Yankees game?
I have not.
Oh,
I have not. I have yet to. I would totally do my version of the Hendrix national, Star Spangled Banner. I would love to.
that would be so great.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. So you haven't done that, but
I haven't done that yet.
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 I think there needs to be who's with me? We need to have some sort of petition or some sort of something where we try and get Paul to play the national anthem at a Yankees game. Who's with me? Come on.
I'm for it.
Oh, come on, Tom. He sent me he put in the feed, Boston beating.
I have to tell you, my brother-in-law, Brett Alexander, was the traveling secretary for the San Francisco Giants for, I believe it was like 8 years. And he was there the first year they won the World Series. And then 2 years later, they won it again. So he actually has 2 World Series rings.
Amazing.
Mike Krukow,
Special.
Mike Krukow, the voice of the Giants, is a big Taylor player.
Really? I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. And there's your 2 minutes of sports. Now we're going to dive into trivia.
Yeah.
Thanks for indulging. All right. So you guys know the rules here. We got one trivia question. All right. It's a big one. I hope you did your research. Hope you guys are ready. We're going to give away a nice leather Taylor strap and a Taylor care pack, including this brand new Taylor digital tuner.
Ooh.
Focus. Maybe it won't focus. Anyway, there you go. Gabriel, wait. I got to establish the rules. We know the rules here. Paul Tobias and Gabriel O'Brien are not allowed to answer the question. If you win, if you were first in the feed, Sambo 76, the answer is not 1974. But if you are the first one to answer, email us at primetime@taylorguitars.com and we will get you sorted out. All right, Gabe, you want to tee up the question? Ooh, what Hall & Oates song did Paul first play on? There we go.
Most days it don't matter how much useless stuff you know. Not on prime time. Part of the show is trivia. The winner takes the suede trivia. If you left, you should have stayed for trivia.
The robotic. Everyone is Googling. Look at this.
There it is. There it is.
Looks like we have an answer. Is that it?
Wow.
Double check YouTube. I hear some laggy feed over here, but Steven
was paying attention.
Yep.
was paying attention.
Did his homework.
Yep.
Did his homework. Awesome job, Steven. Shoot us an email at primetime@taylorguitars.com. Thank you so much, Paul. I cannot tell you how grateful we are to have you on the show. This was
so
fantastic.
good.
When Tim Godwin, we're looking for artists and players to be on the show, and I reached out to our good friend Tim, and he said, who'd be a good one? Paul. I didn't even think it would be a possibility.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate that.
So
I was wondering, can I do a little shout out?
You can do as many.
There's a couple new artists that I'm working with that I'm really excited about.
Go for it.
One is a this famous bodybuilder that I've produced his last 2 albums. His name is Lee Labrada, and he's a Christian. He's a devout Christian, and he's a rocker. It's sort of like Alice in Chains with the message. But we've done 2 albums. We're about to start the 3rd one. The band is called Labrada, and it's on. You can find them on Apple Music. Secondly, there's a young artist that I've just recently started working with. Her name is Liv Hannah, and she's on Spotify and on Apple Music. I'm co-producing her music with Guy Eckstein, who is the son of Billy Eckstein, the famous jazz singer.
Oh, wow.
He's an old friend of mine, and we have a great time working together. But Liv Hannah, L-I-V, Hannah, she's radio ready. This girl is so talented, 18, and she just spits out songs. She wrote like 9 songs last week. And I'm working on something that I would like to bring to Primetime. Johnny Brennan from the Jerky Boys. Who, I don't know if you guys know who the Jerky Boys are, but I grew, throughout the 80s and 90s, he offered me just comic relief. The Jerky Boys, they did all these prank phone calls.
Right.
We're working on a Christmas album for Saul Rosenberg, and we have 1 song down so far, but we're going to be working on some more. So look out for Johnny Brennan and the Jerky Boys Christmas.
He's
album.
a big guitar player, right?
He really is. Yes,
Yeah.
And he has a Taylor guitar. He loves Taylor.
Did someone say Jerky Boys on Primetime?
There we go.
Oh man, we'll just be dying. He'll be doing prank calls the whole night. That would be amazing.
But yeah, we got to get him on. That'd be so much fun.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
to everybody who joins us week in and week out. Thank you, Hunter. We feel the same way, man. It's been an awesome show having you on, Paul. Just listening to your crazy career, man. You've been all over the place.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I consider myself just be one of the luckiest.
We're lucky having you on. Mom, thanks for watching. You're watching. We see you. And everybody, please have a good night. Enjoy yourself. Smile. Be happy. Listen to music and prepare for next week's draft. I'm coming at you guys next week for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Lindsay is still stressed out. All right, Andy, take it away.
What was it? What was it? It was prime time. It was prime time. What the heck was it? What was that? Well, that was prime time. That was another prime time. Show number 42. We met the invisible guitarist. You all saw him too. He said to be in the moment. Make now the best it can be. Cool energy will keep you ahead, but he's never played with Motorhead. He says he tried to play with 2 fingers, a musical chef of sorts. His phone is always ringing. His guitar is his passport. Things you learn on Prime Time on any given Tuesday. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching us tonight. Thanks again, Paul. That was awesome. Y'all have a good week.
See you next week, guys.